If you are a prepper, most likely you are in an urban environment. Most preppers are city dwellers. They live in apartments, they live in rented homes, they live in duplexes, triplexes, condos. They do not live in a secluded cabin in the mountains. They do not live on a farm like most prepper videos that you see on YouTube would have you believe. They sit there and they tell you that you need to have cows and that you need to have acreage and that you need to have vegetable gardens. But for the vast majority of preppers, this is not a possibility. They don't have the space, they don't have the money, they don't have the resources, and they're probably not going to. Furthermore, because of the constraints of a budget and resources, they're most likely going to have to bug in and stay put as long as possible. They're not going to be able to run anywhere because there's nowhere to run to, at least not right away. They're going to have to sit put for a while. That being said, here are top 10 things that city preppers may need to consider for when shit hits the fan. Number one, the blackout. And no, I don't mean when the grid goes down. I mean making your home blacked out on purpose so that no light can escape from it. You're going to probably want light. You're going to have a lamp, you're going to have candles, but you don't want that light coming out because you don't want people on the outside wondering if they should come in because they saw a light. This was done during war times. People used to paint their windows or hang heavy blankets over the windows so that light could not escape, because if a bomber flew overhead, that little flicker of light coming out of the crack of a window could be enough for them to have a target. Don't be a target. Know how to black your windows out so that light does not escape. Also, underneath the doors. You don't want light coming out from underneath your apartment door and it being the only one with light during a situation like that. Your home is going to get broken into. Number two, going right along with the blackout, silence. Learn how to be quiet. In an urban environment, things are loud. There is a constant background hum. I've talked about that before. You're not aware of it because you're so used to it. It's the sound from all the electronics, all the people's voices, all the vehicles, the aircraft going by overhead, and it makes a constant hum that goes on in the background. If you've ever been in a really, really secluded area out in the middle of the desert, out in the middle of the wilderness, if you've ever been in an abandoned town like I have, you know what silence is, and you can hear the proverbial pin drop in those places. You have got to be very quiet because all that background noise will be gone if the grid is down, and people will hear you blocks away. Number three, do not shit where you live. And I mean literally. Don't put your solid waste near where you're living. Don't put your garbage anywhere near where you're living. Have a plan to get it as far away from where you are living as possible, because you will become very susceptible to disease. It does not take much for people to get sick in enclosed spaces when there's garbage and feces and urine present. People are like rats. They climb all over each other, they crap all over the place, they gather trash, they make a mess. You have got to keep your little environment clean, especially if you're in an apartment. You've got to keep it clean and sanitary, or you and your loved ones are going to get sick. Tying in with that, number four, keep clutter away from your building. If you're in an apartment building, you do not want trash piling up. And this goes with number three, don't shit where you live. People will take their garbage and they'll just keep piling it up at that dumpster. They'll keep piling it up with the barrels or up the side of the building. This is a fire hazard as well as being a sanitation hazard. If there are marauders and they know that people are in there, it would be really tempting for them to set that trash pile on fire and root you all out. Don't have a pile of rubble all up next to your property. It's dangerous. And connected with that, number five, have a solid plan for fire control. Do you have a fire extinguisher? Do you have a means to put out a fire if one starts in your building? Somebody throws a Molotov cocktail in your front hallway of your apartment complex. Could you handle that? If not, do you have a solid escape plan? These are things you really need to consider, especially for apartment dwellers. Number 6, stay out of sight, otherwise known as being the gray man. Tying in with 1 and 2, blackout and silence. Try not to be noticed. Try not to draw attention to yourself. Stay away from crowds. Make sure that you're not followed. Know your area well so that you can get around quickly. Do not get noticed. Someone could follow you. Someone could try to jump you, especially during tempting situations like if, for example, FEMA was giving away MREs or water. People walking away from a large crowd like that are targets. Take a look at Africa. Happens all the time. Number 7, the fewer people who know you prep, the better. I understand that preppers, many of them, want to be community conscious. They want to be connected with like-minded individuals. There is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being part of a prepper community, but everyone cannot know. Most of the people that you know are going to become a threat if they know that you have and that they need. Go back and look at our video, The Prepper Family Inner Circle, and you'll see what we're talking about. We'll put a link to it down below if you haven't seen it, and check it out. That's exactly the example that we're talking about. The less people that know, the safer that you will be. Number 8, be space conscious, which is very difficult to do in an apartment. You have to be creative. For example, totes. You could put totes in the floor of your closets. You could get a trundle bed. That's one of those beds that has the big drawer that comes out underneath. You could fill that with product. Get a cheap storage locker somewhere in town that you could get to in an emergency. Sometimes you can get a storage locker from between $15 to $30. Just a closet-sized one may be enough for what you need. Get creative with your space. Don't be a hoarder. Don't have clutter. Have it neatly organized and neatly put away. Only take what you need. Only have what you need. Number 9, have a go-to location. Not a bug-out location, a go-to location. Not everybody can afford a bug-out location. Not everybody's got a cabin in the woods. Not everybody has a bomb shelter somewhere. It's just not going to happen. But you can have a go-to location. Maybe it could be your storage locker that you have from suggestion number 8. Maybe it's another friend's apartment. Maybe it's an abandoned building or storefront that you know of. Someplace that you can go to buckle down in case your location is compromised. Tying in with that, number 10, having an emergency meeting place, which could be the same place. Do other people in your prepping community or your immediate family know where to go if they can't find you, if something has happened? Do you know where to go if you can't find them? Have a predetermined meeting place set up that you all can go to, just like a fire drill, so that you can find each other in an emergency. And just one more tip, because we always like to throw you a bone, call it number 11 if you will. Utilize those rooftops. Maximize your surveillance. Here's the trick. When you are walking down the middle of a street, have you ever thought about the fact that if it was an SHTF situation, that there could potentially be danger in every single window of every house or building, behind every car? If you're bugged in, that should be you. You should be up on the rooftop. You should be in the backdrop of a window watching those streets or networking with other people in your prepper community to keep an eye out. Utilize the landscape to your advantage. Protect what you've got because everyone wants to take it. We hope that you found this list helpful. If you have any other ideas or suggestions pertaining to the list, please go ahead and put them in the comments section below. Check out our other videos if you have not seen them. Lots of interesting content there. Please like, share, and subscribe if you have not already. And as always, thanks for watching.